Hi, everybody. Recruiting Animal here on November 5, 2025. 2025.
Hi, Animal.
Hi, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have to work hard to persuade a passive candidate, you call someone up that you researched, he or she is not looking,
Mhm.
and you have to, they tell you, look, I'm happy where I am. If I'm not looking now, if you have to persuade that person, does that mean that's not someone you want? You really want someone who's at least ready to do some window shopping. How hard do you have to work? Does it make sense? How hard do you have to work to draw them into a conversation? And does that make a difference?
A little bit, but I think you have to start with asking questions and learning about them. The harder the if they give you a quick and dirty, I'm fine, click. Okay, they could just be ignorant. But if they're still talking with you, they're still talking with you for a reason. So let's do it to Animal. So Animal, you say you're doing okay. Well, that's great. Tell me what do you like so much about your company? And you tell me, and I said, okay, great. And the reason I was calling you is because I was very impressed with blah blah blah. And we keep talking. There was a true story. I was talking with one of my ex company's executives in Texas, and they said, "Oh, we met with Animal, and we asked him to come work for us." I said, "Was it an interview?" Well, no, he was trying to sell services to us. And how long before you asked him? Oh, we sat down, said hi. We said, "So, you know what? We like you. How about we talk about you coming to work for us?" And so I called Animal and I said, "Hey, I heard you talk to the guys and they tried to hire you." And he was like, "Yeah, we talked for an hour and a half." And I said, and in the end, I just said, I kept asking questions. Why did they think that? Why? What would make? What do you do? What do you like? And by the time she said, "I'm happy where I am. I'm not." And by the time we were done, I knew what the problems were at her company. She was very kind. She was very open about it. I said, "Look, why don't I set up a meeting with you and these guys again? Not an interview, a lunch." And she goes, "Yeah, let's do that." And 8 weeks later, she was hired.
Good story. Did they pay you?
I was working full time at that company, so I didn't get
Oh,
paid
okay.
anything.
Well, if you were a recruiter, wouldn't you feel like you were on thin ice? I mean, you brought the candidate in. There's no doubt about it, but they could
Right.
easily say, we knew her and we offered her a job already. We're not paying you.
Well, if they're looking at her from me and they're going to interview her, then they've already gone. They better have all. We all have better gone through the "this is my candidate" argument and
Okay, how
cleared
would
that.
what would you, no no how would you clarify? Listen, yeah, I mean, this she's like, how did she come up? You researched her, then you talked to your client. This is hypothetical, okay?
Yeah.
You research her, you see her, you talk to your client, you say, I saw this woman and I think she's pretty good. I'm going to call her, and they say, you know what? We spoke to her already, and you say, give
Oh.
me give
Oh.
me another
Okay.
chance. If I bring her in, are you going
Yeah.
to pay? Will you say, if I bring her in for you, are you going to pay me? Would you say that? Would you put that so clearly before you pursue that woman?
In that case, yeah, I would. And I get and I get it in email.
You would say, listen, I want that in writing. Please send me an
No, no,
email.
no, no, no. I wouldn't do that. But I wouldn't say it that way, Animal, because that might be a little triggering for them. But what I would do is after the call, I'd send them an email. "Hey, Bob, just summarizing our call. Blah blah blah."
Yeah, you know what? I want to hear what the others have to say about that, because I find that situation scary. It's beautiful, okay? You brought that candidate in. Okay, they
Mhm.
weren't able. They weren't even trying. Okay, they gave up on her. You brought her in. I believe that many companies would not want to pay you. We know her already. Okay, we didn't need you.
And I get that. I get that. And it's like, okay, but you're telling me that candidate is we've decided for whatever reason you've decided not to pursue the process. They would say yes, and I'd say, okay, fine. I think I know you guys pretty well. Let me give it a shot. What have you got to lose? As long as you tell me you're going to pay me if we do this and it's successful, what's the harm?
Okay, what if they said, you know what, Alan, I'm going to give her another call myself.
Then go ahead. Because you know what it tells me though? If Animal already told them no, or if the person if they said Animal already told us no, well, we're going to call them again. You know what? You know who's calling them again? They're going to do the same thing they did before, expecting a different result. The definition of insanity. and they're going to
Uh-huh.
screw it up again.
Okay. And let's say they did screw it up. Would you say, look, I'm going to go in if you pay me? Do you think you'd have a chance at that point after they sort of muddied the waters?
I don't know. I don't know. If I know the company and I know the people, and I can talk to her, let's call her her, let's call her Jennifer, and I can call Jennifer and say, hey, look, I heard that you guys were talking and you said no twice. I'm really curious. I really want to know, because I'm trying to fill this role for them as well. What was it that made you say no? And she might say, Alan, I didn't say no. I said, I have a kid that I have to take to daycare, blah, blah, blah. Did they say I said no? Yeah, they did. And I had that happen. I just had that happen, where the candidate came back and said, I don't think they think I'm the right fit for them. I called the VP back and he goes, no, we like her, but I don't think she heard me say this. I said, did you say it? Well, yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to try again. So I called her and said, oh, yeah, under that circumstance, yeah, I'm interested. Help me, guys. But
Really?
yes.
Wow. That's a good story. Okay.
But Rich Rosen probably, and Tommy and everybody probably has these, because we're matchmakers and there's so much miscommunication. And there's so much, what do you call it? Assumptions.
Okay, but there's two different issues there. The second issue, you said there was a miscommunication. The first one, okay, the big issue for me was, are they going to cheat me? No, it happens, okay?
No, and I had that happen years ago when I placed Animal in a tech company, and then the tech company moved from Los Angeles to Orange County. Animal couldn't do this huge commute. He left, we got him another job. And within 2 months, Animal's old boss is like, gosh, I miss Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, I miss Animal. And over the next 10 months, I'm like, I'm talking to you, I'm talking to Jimmy and blah, blah. And then I'm like, look, Animal, call Jimmy, have lunch. He did. And so we went from, well, Jimmy's saying, well, Animal's got to be on site 5 days a week. And Animal's like, I got to be on site 1 day a week. And we, over 9-10 months, it went like this. And then afterwards, they rehired. And then I'm losing you. But Rich Allen has been doing very good. Okay, he's right. Impressed me. But I'm going to bounce the same thing off you. Okay.
Okay.
You tell your you tell your client. I saw this woman on. I saw her profile. I think she's really good. I'm going to call her about this job. What do you think about this profile? I don't think you never do that in advance, do you? Do you ever do that, Rich?
Occasionally, sure.
Okay. And they say, Rich, we spoke to her once at a trade show and we actually offered her a job and she said no. Okay.
Oh, you changed it. We offered her a job.
What was the story, Alan?
Your criteria, Animal, was we talked to her and that was it. And the process stopped. You're changing the criteria a little bit.
I thought she was offered a job. Am I forgetting already?
You'll have to run back the OBS, but
okay. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Rich, she was offered a job. Let's do it this way. And she said no. Would you say, look, if I can bring her in, are you going to pay me? Would that be, because I think that's a real threat that if you bring her in, they might not want to pay her. They say, we know her already. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, if it's a legit client, they're going to give you the rights to her, because without you.
No, but would you try to get that in writing or something like that?
No,
before you brought her in? Because I told Alan, I can see them saying, that's great. We hired her now, thanks to you, Alan, but we're not going to pay you.
Yeah, it's a shitty client.
But I was just saying, back
Don't
it
you
up
want to
and
protect yourself?
Just throw a quick email out there. Hey, Jimmy, by the way, we discussed this. I'm going to go talk to Rich Rosen and see if I can re-engage him. And if so, and he gets hired, he comes in under my agreement.
Yeah. Listen, if it's the first time you're working with a client, I've had something like this happen, and I've gone back to him and said, hey, listen, I came across someone you guys had talked to a year or two ago, or whatever it was. You were interested in her, you're offering her a job, but timing wasn't right for her. If I reintroduce her, are we gonna have an issue?
That's pretty good, Alan. That's a good example.
Yeah. I mean,
what happened?
Yeah. It's never been an issue because they're like, you talk to the hiring manager, like, yeah, we weren't going to do anything with her. HR should have called her if they were any good.
Wow. Okay. You've got to, you don't describe all your clients as being that fair. Okay. So,
No, that's not true. Listen, I have a lot of clients, so I can't tell you they're all wonderful, but most of them are pretty good. But you do get a couple of screwballs, thrown at you.
okay, I got a question for Ernie. For some reason, because of the conversations I've had with him before, this one comes to mind. I've already asked Alan. He gave me a great answer. Okay. If you call someone up, a passive candidate, are you listening, Ernie? Okay. Yeah, a passive candidate. And he or she says, I'm happy where I am. I'm really not interested right now. You're going to try to engage that person. Am I right? Or are you going to say to yourself, if somebody's, so doesn't want to talk, that's not somebody I'm really interested in. I want someone who's willing to, at least shop around, do some window shopping, entertain a bit, the idea of making a move. Which one is you?
You try to continue with the conversation, see where they're coming from, ask a few questions.
Give me some examples.
I say, well, I'm not interested. We'll say, well, okay, that's great. You're not interested. I agree with you. But can I take a few minutes to tell you about what I'm looking for? Maybe you might be interested, or maybe you might know somebody that you could help out.
Okay, but here's the issue. This issue is a little different than just reeling them in. Do you want someone who's closed-minded? That's the issue. If they say right off the bat, no interest, thanks, does that mean they're really not a candidate?
I think there's a philosophy that I have that says, I'm happy, but I can always be made happier. And that's the approach I would take. I don't think anyone's closed-minded. I think there's reasons why they have their conclusion, but I don't think they're closed-minded. And
you don't think anybody is closed-minded, even if they seem to be at first?
No,
that's what you're saying.
No, but if they're closed-minded, there's a reason why. Mom is here. She's sick. I got to take care of her. Kids are in high school. I mean, we've heard them all, and we know the ones that they aren't going to move, and there's no reason to get them to move.
Okay, Rich, you want in on that? Anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm trying to get something done here.
Oh, you don't want me to ask? Because I got a lot of your stuff here. You don't want me to ask?
You can ask whatever you want, man.
Okay. Well, when you said if your company is a mess, you can't hide it. Okay. Your candidates are going, but you said something different at the end. It starts out like that, right?
Rich does that all the time.
Okay. You said you can't hide your Glassdoor reviews. Recruiters never take Glassdoor seriously. Okay. Then they tell candidates Glassdoor's garbage. There's anonymous postings, negative postings about companies by disgruntled employees. You don't even know if the people really work there.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you saying Glassdoor is important?
No. I'm saying it's an article to get attention. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But are people using Glassdoor that much anymore?
Yeah, people do. I mean, but the smart people, they understand that, listen, it's there for whiners and complainers. When's the last time you saw a positive review on Glassdoor?
Okay. And so these guys also, you got kudos for this line, Rich. Candidates are reading the room harder than a Vegas card counter. Okay. People like that. Okay.
Yeah.
They see the hiring manager who comes in late and looks awful. Okay. The interview panel that can't agree on what the job is. We talked about that last week. Somebody brings a candidate in. There's 3 people on the panel. The first guy looks at his resume and says, well, what are you doing here? Okay. Remember, we talked about that?
Yeah.
Okay. And then they see empty desks. And so your solution is just be honest, show the good, the bad, and what you're fixing. You described a company that's so awful. How could you fix that situation?
Listen, I mean, if you try to hide all the bullshit in the company, especially one that's that bad, do you want the candidate that comes in and doesn't recognize this place as a shithole? All right. Or you're just saying, listen, this is what's going on. We're going through this transition and this is what we're working on. This is why these desks are empty. This is what's happening.
And this is why we're hiring you.
Exactly. I mean, the end of the day is most candidates leave. You ever talk to, you two both worked internal for a while. So I guarantee the people that left after like 90 days, they left because they were lied to. You know, the vast majority that left on their own.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah.
You in the front.
Mr. Rosen!
Mr. Norchak.
Oh, so I just saw a Forbes article that was talking about onboarding and high percentages of people that leave within the first, I think, 30, 60, 90, whatever days. And I was thinking, holy geez, if those numbers are actually somewhat accurate, it was almost like a third of the people. And Rich is right. He's lied to. Most are lied to.
Yeah.
And I mean, how hard is it to get someone hired? How much do we have to play matchmaker? Drag it across the finish line. And then you've got a third of them leaving before 90 days.
That's a huge number, a third.
I think the biggest thing is you want to be as honest with people as possible, and you never want them to come and say to you, "What the hell did you get me into?"
Yeah. Like, you know, and so I literally an hour ago, I just had this conversation with a new client of mine. I got brought into by one of their advisors, and I almost didn't take the search. I took the search. The first person I talked to was absolutely perfection for this role. It was a really unique thing in Ohio. And the next three people I talked to all hated this company beyond belief. Hated it. Like, and so I called the CEO up, and I'm like, it's kind of a small mom and pop $10 million company. And I'm like, what's the story? Like, I can't keep working on this. Like, I can't call anyone in this city anymore. I can't, be damaging my reputation without knowing what the facts were. And he started kind of going down a different path. I was like, no. I got to know what the real story is. I've already Googled it. I've already done AI deep research on the legal cases. So I got to hear it from you what the situation is. And he came out and told me, like, his version of the truth, we'll say, and I said, listen, I'm the only one that's going to win in this whole situation. If you do this again, you're going to pay me a big fee. You're going to be pissed. I'm going to tell you to pound sand because you lied to this lady. So you need to tell her, if this is the person you want, which is the person I want to hire, how you're going to act, and you got to show her. Like, it came down to him bullshitting people in some respects. Some of these other people are idiots too, but it came down to him also the fact that he was underpaying people because they were betting on them to lose. Right. So he was betting on people goes along more the hiring issue than the other piece. We're putting animal to sleep. There we go.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Your picture dove out. I didn't know.
My internet, Rogers. I'm sorry.
No, you got to pay your tariffs and all. But it was a really interesting conversation. I was like, dude, listen, you cannot be paying people what you're paying them if you expect them to win. You're already betting on them to lose. So why even hire them to begin with? You've done this for 10 years and you're stuck at the same place you were 10 years ago. Like, this lady, you're going to pay her well, and you're going to, give her a plan that shows you there's a growth plan here and a pattern of success. Otherwise, again, I'm the only one that's going to win because you're going to pay me a big fee. She's going to leave in 45 or 90 days, and you're going to be pissed. I'm going to tell you to,
What happened? What happened?
He listened to me and did the plan I told him to build, and we're going to offer it this afternoon. She's going to start.
Okay, it sounds like a terrible client. The client should be walked away from.
It's the guy is in the back nine. He's had his big heart attack. He's looking at retirement. He wants to build something he can sell. And
how can you sell that job to her? What do you guys think? It's kryptonite. It sounds like to me.
It depends.
Yeah, it depends.
It depends. I mean, if the guy's really churned a leaf, then it's great.
You don't even believe he told you everything. I got another question.
That was a different piece of the story. That was the legal issues, which were, some of those were 10 and 20 years ago. So listen, every startup does things, screws things up. If you've ever hired someone, I don't hire people, quite frankly, because I bet they're going to lose too, because I think most people are going to suck. That's why I stopped hiring people. So I totally understand where this guy's coming from, but I made him, I'm like, what's the most you ever paid a sales guy? And he told me. I'm like, great, we're going to pay, at least 20 grand more than that. And if it hurts you, then it hurts you.
Okay. I still don't understand how, if you've got a sales manager who rolls in late looking like he's aged 10 years in the last quarter, okay? I don't understand how you can cover that up, okay? Unless
Again,
you're saying we're firing
Animal,
this guy.
that's a story painting a picture. It's not a reality situation. I'm going to send you some.
Really me, okay? Sorry.
I will. I will send you some good stories. Some bedtime stories I saw online. You'll enjoy.
Okay.
One's about a glazed donut. I'll say.
Does anybody have something urgent they'd like to talk about? Anybody have an issue? I think Rich had one last week. Oh yeah, he had one about LinkedIn. You know, I have to ask Tom if he shows up. Some people said LinkedIn is banning people who use Sales Nav
Yeah.
for sourcing. What does that mean?
Technically, Sales Nav is not for recruiters.
But they gave it to us.
When they took your money, it's amazing what they do.
Yeah, but when they say sourcing, what do they mean? With an automated service? Okay.
Yeah.
They don't mean just scrolling through the
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you read the agreement, it's pretty.
Hey, but hold on. Even if you're a salesperson, you have to look at people. I mean,
Listen, it's. I don't understand their agreement. I think it's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen.
I don't source from there. I just like to network.
Yeah. I use PIN for my sourcing, so I'm good. So
PIN, well, people are afraid to get knocked out of LinkedIn by using PIN.
Well, but I mean, it's kind of like if you've never been in LinkedIn jail, you've never been a recruiter.
Yeah, but jail or prison, because I've been in both.
I've been in both. I mean, they got me twice. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
it was prison catches you off guard the day it happens.
Yeah.
It's a serious threat. Ernie takes it lightly. Okay, I grew up on the streets, so I can handle this stuff.
No. It's really like there's certain things like if you've never been in corporate America unless you move from one company to another. You've never been in corporate America unless you've gotten downsized. Because in the old days, everybody would say, "Hey, well, he got downsized, so he mustn't be any good."
Right.
Today, everybody gets downsized. And that's your baptism.
Yeah, seriously, it's amazing. I think this lady that's going to get placed in this job, she was at 3 years at one company, and then a contractor at the next. And one of the people were like, "Well, she got laid off." I'm like, after 3 years and 10 million in revenue. I'm like, new leadership came in. This is what happens. Unfortunately, they downsize the team and bring their buddies in. It sucks. It's dumb, but this is what they do.
And have you ever looked at LinkedIn profiles and you see this one guy get president? He's gotten like 5 presidents in a row, and he's been there like 1 year.
Painful.
Yeah.
Painful.
Yeah, but I got a clue at a bank one time on why and how that happens, and from a recruiting mentor. So help me on this, you guys. We hired Jimmy as the new controller or the new CFO or whatever to help revitalize. And then so Jimmy comes in, and his first year he's listening and learning. And during the beginning of the second year, he's like, I'm putting together a transformational shake-up plan. And then near the end of the second year, he puts it in place. So year 3, everybody's real happy about it. Year 4, they're starting to hear grumblings. And that's when Jimmy leaves, before it's had a chance to crash. And now rinse, repeat, recycle.
Yeah, but that's if you're there for 4 years. He's saying you're there every year.
That's
people
true.
live every year.
That
40
happens.
is one thing. The year thing.
Yeah, but what Alan said is even if they stayed 5 years, it doesn't mean they were successful.
Oh,
It's
great.
worth hiring again. Okay.
Yeah.
No, he's totally right. All right. Well, so more importantly, I'm still stuck on my ATS problem. I use WinSearch was probably my favorite database. WinSearch was amazing. It was ahead of its time. I almost bought the company like 20 years ago or 15 years ago. It was, but they couldn't. They were too late to the game to upgrade it to the cloud.
Mm-hmm.
But man, it was, dude, that thing. It was so ahead of its game. And even this is back in 2010, probably 2005. If someone called, their record automatically pop up on the screen.
Yeah, I can't believe some of these guys don't. Like Alan was saying, this woman
Right.
she was selling something to his client, right? And they recognized talent, and they just sat her down to have a chat about coming to work for them. Hold on, let me finish. I can't believe these people that Rich talked to. They don't say to themselves, I'm going to give him not a little equity. I'm going to make him a full-time partner because this guy can sell. He'll tell us exactly what they need, and he's going to go out and sell it to other people because he's so enthusiastic about it, and he can cover all the bases. That's what I keep hearing. But, I can't say it would be better than working here. Go ahead.
Because, and there was, I forget whose video it was the other day. Somebody came out and basically said, if you work with somebody and you like them, they're good, but the leadership thinks they're disruptive. Leadership thinks they're outside the box. Leadership thinks da da da. And you know what? As soon as that person leaves, everything falls apart because leadership didn't realize you need these types of people to grow and do stuff right and not just fit inside a box. But companies want you to fit your actions, your behaviors inside a box that they designed, they think they like, and they don't want to get out of their own heads.
Yeah.
And that's why this industry is going to keep growing.
Yeah.
Well, that's why in a lot of companies, you have owners that don't want to delegate. They don't trust anybody.
Yeah.
And then it falls apart. And then they wonder why it doesn't grow. And even times they don't even care if it doesn't grow. They just need to be.
I'm one of those people. I'm solo for a reason. I don't care about growing. I mean, years ago I would have loved to grow a business, but you know what? I'm not a good manager. I'm not good at trusting people to get it done. And you know what? It's worked out okay, but it's everyone, if you're going to build a business, a real business, then you got to let go.
Rich, that's a question I wanted to ask you. Somebody said that these founders are that's a big problem for them. They get used to selling their product and they don't think anybody else can do it. So they want to hire people to sell, but they rush in at the end to do the close themselves. Is that a problem that a recruiter, is going to hear about and tell these guys, you can't run your business this way. I'm not going to send you any good clients.
I had this conversation with this guy this morning. I'm like, he's like, someone should be able to get stuff done in 3 months. I'm like, that's bullshit. I'm like, first of all, it's a longer cycle. You don't even know what your actual sales cycle is. You're the founder. It's your baby. No one's getting in trouble. You're not getting in trouble for saying whatever stupid thing you want to say. You're not getting in trouble for. You hire Bill. Bill says something you don't like. You're going to be up him like
like white on rice.
Yeah, that's a nice way to put it.
But you look at companies. you look at companies, and they all have a life cycle, and especially if they're family owned.
Yeah.
And then I say 3 generations, and then it's out.
Yep.
First generation struggles. Second generation gets it going. Third generation doesn't even want to deal with it because they grow up money. It's
usually the first generation that builds it. The second generation built. It gets now it gets tasted some money. They make the third generation soft. They take it over, and that's why it fails.
Yeah, because they don't want to work.
Yeah, there was the Sultan of Dubai or whatever had this quote where he said, "Listen, my grandfather drove a camel, or my great grandfather drove a camel, rode a camel. I rode a Rolls Royce. My son drove a Rolls Royce. His son's going to ride a camel." It was something like that.
Rick, before I forget, remember that I said this is how you
wants to find out where you buy camels.
No. Yes. Okay. No. Did you actually say that guy to that client? Hey, you can ask any stupid question you want, and nobody's going to hassle you. Did you use those words?
I could probably show you the transcript for it because that was last week. So that was absolutely a word for word, winner. So
you can ask us. Some people wouldn't like that. You can ask any stupid question you want, and no one's going to bug you. But if Billy does it,
but this is the joy of selling from a position of not caring. All right, like I have nothing to lose with this client. They paid me a retainer. If they're going to fuck it up, they're going to fuck it up. Right. All right. So I'm giving them the benefit of what I've seen. They don't know. And they have made a lot of mistakes in their past, which they're trying to fix. So I'm trying to help them avoid the same mistakes. I mean, I told this guy repeatedly, you cannot have crazy expectations. You cannot have a ridiculous quota. You could not put this person in a room and just stare at her while she makes calls. I'm like, none of those things are going to bring success for you. And if you do, again, you're going to lose. And I will be the only one to win. This lady's going to be upset. You're going to be upset. And I'm going to be pissed that I only did one deal with you and wasted my time. But I got paid. So, I mean, what am I going to lose?
Would you guys anybody else do that to talk to them that bluntly? I mean, I'm impressed. I got to say, I like it.
Yeah,
Sounds like the show.
it-
Sounds like a recruiting animal show.
it's real. And listen, I like the guy, actually. He's a nice dude. I hope he succeeds. But it's like watching your kids sometimes making a mistake, and you're just like, oh God, like you can save him from the pain, because he was coming up with this plan. I even said to him, like, would you give your kid this plan, or would your kid fail on it? And it made him redo the plan.
Oh,
We got to think about it. So it was it's really a lot of fun when you can actually be a real consultant and advisor.
Yeah.
Not just a guy.
You got to be willing to walk away.
Yeah, that's it.
If you don't walk away,
Yeah.
you're really desperate.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Do you think some clients would have said to Rich, "Don't talk to me like that. I don't need that bullshit. Okay, I don't need that."
Then you say bye. You hang up.
But I mean, it all depends on tone. I mean, I was talking with a little $10 million company the other day. I know both of it. There's 3 owners. I know 2 of the new owner. I know the 2 new owners. The older gentleman that started it, I don't know. They wanted me to do 2 positions, and they called me back and they said, "Hey, we just talked to Bobby. Bobby doesn't want to pay any fees. So what are we going to do?" I said, "Well, what do you want to do?" He goes, "I think we're going to have to hire somebody and fire them so that Bobby learns, and then we're going to have to call you back." I said, "Well, let's keep in touch." I'm like, yeah. But I mean, that's straightforward. There's other companies I'll say, you guys need to redo your interview process.
Yeah, it's you either have a client that keeps making mistakes, and you're going to ruin your reputation working with them, or you had to help them out. And if they don't want help, then you just walk away from the deal. Like, I mean, for Alan's thing, I probably would have said, well, maybe I can talk to this guy and maybe have him see the light.
I thought about that, but the way they were describing it, Rich, it was kind of like, I'll see them.
You have to recognize when you dodge a bullet.
Totally.
There's also times when it's like, I'm here. You got my number. We see each other every month, every other month at an association thing. We're going to say hi, and we're going to be friendly. And if you guys change your mind, I'm here. But I get Rich's time. I get Rich's thing. I've tried to do that before. Sometimes it works.
Yeah, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Like, and if you got a relationship with the other 2 guys, you just say, "Hey, listen, do you mind if I talk to this guy?" If they're like, "Don't even bother," then you don't, right? I mean, you don't want to burn all 3 bridges. So.
And there's also the times when you have another recruiter involved. Say, we got that guy 6 months ago from this recruiter, so we're still obliged to him for another 6 months. And that's when, if you've got a good enough relationship with the hiring team, you just ask them, "Well, give me the name of the other recruiter and we'll work it out." And then you call the other recruiter and says, "I got a guy that they want to talk to. We can do a split if you want to. Otherwise, your guy's going to sit there and you ain't going to get shit." So I've had that done, and the guy said, "Yeah, go ahead."
Yeah.
I go, "Great. So go send me a letter, tell me I have permission." And then
But most recruiters would be like, no, like the other recruiter, instead of just saving a little face, they let me split the fee with you and do the right thing for the client. Most recruiters are just like, no, I'm not splitting it.
Let me ask you this. Here's my thing with this guy. So I went in and I go in with a small retainer against, say, 27%. And then that gives me room to negotiate.
Mhm.
So they wanted it. So I know their situation. So I take the retainer off. We talk. I bring it down to 24%. I don't know what this other guy wants to do, but I'm not moving off of that for what they need. So
No.
my thing is, at some point, you can talk to other people that'll do it for 10, 15, 20%. That's fine.
I always tell them, "Hey, listen, if you want to," I'm not the cheapest guy in the world, but I'm the best guy you're going to work with. Who's going to send you, 2 or 3 people are going to save you time and all that good stuff. But I go, if you really want 10%, I'm not your guy, but I'm happy to help you out. I'll throw your name into this Facebook group. There's tons of bottom feeder recruiters. They will be on you like white on rice, to use Animal's term.
And the reality of it is, it ain't my problem.
Yeah.
If you don't hire this guy, shit, you're the one's got to deal with it. Finding somebody.
And then
I just walk away from that.
I always walk these guys through this whole scenario where it's like, listen, this fee is going to be $40,000. $40,000 is going to make you $1 million a year. All right.
Mhm.
It's an investment in your company. It's an investment that you get to actually control. Unlike the stock market where you're just throwing a dart, you actually get to pick the investment. You get to control that investment. You get to manage that investment. You get to train that investment. You get to do everything. And this guy, for salespeople, his goal is $1 million a year. So if I give you $1 million, if I say, listen, for 40 grand, I can turn that to $1 million, would you do it? What are you gonna say? No, right? And they're gonna say, well, I don't want to risk. Well, then you don't want to hire anyone. I mean, it's the amount of time and energy it's going to save. Because one of these days I'm going to figure the whole math out, like really figure it out. Because there is zero chance internal recruiters save companies money on executive and not the high volume roles, but the roles the 150K and above roles. Like there's no chance this team of internal recruiters is saving these companies money, in my opinion. Ernie, you may know better. I mean, you guys are both internal, so.
No, I think you're right. It's I heard an internal recruiter talk about the fact that I don't go out and do anything, but I don't want to bring any competition because they'll think that I'm not doing my job, and they're going to ask.
No, I'm not doing my job now.
Yeah, and they'll ask me, you have a team, why aren't you guys doing it? I thought that's what you guys were hired to do. But usually the people that are internal recruiters are internal recruiters forever, which means they don't like to call anybody. They don't know how.
But this is the thing. They're not calling people. Everything's automated. Everything is it's automated. They have these stupid schedulers, which could be the dumbest job in the history of mankind. Hiring someone to paying someone. What's a scheduler get, Ernie? 75 grand, 100 grand a year to schedule meetings. Like in 2025 with AI, you need a scheduler, plus you're paying an internal, plus you're paying them bonuses and benefits and everything else. And you're telling me that that's saving you money, and they're going to take 3 times longer than it's going to take me to do it. So you're losing $100,000 a month in revenue, and you're paying all this extra out for some half-assed person to do it.
I'm going to say that now that Alan's back, if he's heard anything you said, he doesn't agree with you. I don't know if he's got the guts.
I was talking to a client. What's the comment?
That there's no way internal recruiters for non-volume hiring, like say 150 and above. There's no way a team of internal recruiters at most companies are going to actually save them money over paying a recruit. And that's an external recruiter.
I did.
Most companies, number one.
No.
That's why Alan's doing what he's doing now.
Exactly.
Let me bring up another thing. Why do people become sourcers when I've seen some of the best sourcers ever that you hear them that they can do magic?
Yeah.
You look at their LinkedIn profile, and they're like 1 year, and these are like famous people that we know that are sourcers. Why would you do that?
Just because you know people on all these different podcasts doesn't mean they're actually good. It's like TED Talks. Talks. These guys are clowns.
Yeah, but I mean they're
right, they're really good sources. But the problem with the sources are sources because they have no work ethic usually. They're good on spots. They're good in spurts.
They're good as hired guns. And I think before many years ago, Ernie, I don't know, the sourcers for Korn Ferry, Heidrick, and all the other ones that were independent, they were sourcers, but they were called consultants, and they would do list development or candidate identification, and they would even do candidate development, and the hourly price changed appropriately. And they were good, but now with technology and the economy where it is, sourcers are cheaper. And
well, now you have AI do the same thing as the sources years ago.
Baloney.
You can. I build my lists oftentimes, not every time. Again, there's no always, but like I've got lists. I've got lists that I build for these current searches. In an hour, I've got like 40 candidates.
Using what? Pin?
Using Pin.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, even just using LinkedIn, you can build quick too. I mean, but now there's all these AI engines. I got a bunch of things running on N8N that will find candidates, will find clients, will automatically send
on
letters.
What? N8N?
It's like a Zapier. It connects all the dots. It connects like your ChatGPT to your ATS to LinkedIn to Google, all this stuff.
I have an interesting issue, but I'm going to save that for next week. I'm just going to do the ads, okay? Rich Rosen. He's Sean today. You can go to his class 8:45 a.m. On Thursdays, tomorrow morning. It's a reasonable price. If you want to talk to him about it, Rich at cornerstonesearch.com. But the link describing it is in the notes for this show. Alan,
Wait, want to hear something fun? I
Yeah.
had someone, their mother gave my class to her daughter for her birth as a birthday present.
and Tommy's show is on Friday at 12
9:30.
noon. The recruiterroundtable.com. Ernie's a co-host, and Alan is apparently a regular attendee.
Quick question for you, Rich.
Yeah.
When you're looking at an ATS and you say you have to have a certain amount of candidates in there,
Mhm.
what's your number that you put in? Like 50, 100,000?
Yeah, I mean, it all depends. Like some, I'll dump my actual data in there. I'll do a map over. Others, I'll just dump like 1,000 companies in there, and 1,000. I'll just put a spreadsheet in there and upload a bunch of people, just to see how it really runs in searches. Like, but what I find is you really have to do run an actual search. Like, sit there on the phone, screening someone while you're looking at that program, because you'll notice different things that are missing in it. That when you're just kind of casually, yeah, this is how I do the process and I work through it, you end up missing these nuances. Like on Jarvie, I noticed that like they put their resume on the left side, but if you have a big paragraph of information in their resume per se, it will say like Oracle, and then the guy's title, and then a paragraph of information, and then below that it will say, for 4 years from 21 to 25, but it's so far down, you don't see it like where you're on the phone with someone. And, and then for each job it was like that. And, they didn't notice it. So now they're going to fix it. Right. So, but I looked at it 100 times. I never noticed it till I was literally using it as I would every day, as just as a simple example. But just sending out candidates, like doing a candidate invite. A lot of these programs, you can't do it like you would on an older ATS where you can just attach a resume.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a beginning recruiter. You're just starting out. You ain't got budget worth shit. What do you go to? What do you do? You got a little bit of money. But
they're all about the same. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They're all going to be $100 to $200 a month, except for Manitou, which is like 20. In Manitou, if you don't have any money, it's fine starter package, right? It is it's not a bad one. But it all depends on your need and how you want to use it. And all the ones that I like, they're not ready yet. They're still, I thought they'd be ready in October. They're still 3 months away, probably. Like the recruiter. If I was starting today, probably though, as much as Recruiter Flow annoys me with some of their stuff, even now I can't even get this thing to load in right now, but it has all the right tools and bells and whistles to it. I think it's a good looking program in general. It really has, it doesn't do everything perfectly, but it does everything well enough, I think, as a total package. And they're not that expensive. They're a reasonable price. Their AI is fairly decent in it.
So
Thanks, everybody. It was fun
See you guys.
again, as usual.
Thanks, everyone.
See you later.
See you later.